Voices here sounds very clear. Savings are grand, Bahama land. Family is there, bringing a check. Sun, sea, and sun, they'll understand. New Providence, San Salvador, Grand Bahama, Illutora. Where voices hit families just for Christmas. Where voices hit families just for Christmas. Call Emily and Monkey, call Abaco and Monkey, call Manawha and Cobertown and Fresh Street. That island too. Call your grandma and your grandpa. They'd love to hear from you this year. Where voices hit families just for Christmas. Where voices hit families just for Christmas.
Sign up for Red Voice Bahamaland for as low as $14.99 a month with unlimited local and nationwide calling. You'll be entered to win your mortgage and utilities for a full year. Red Voice Bahamaland.
Red Voices here sounds very clear. Savings are grand, Bahamaland.
Opposition parties strike out at government over this year's murder count. Relatives of Haitian boat tragedy victims to begin identifying bodies. The Bahamas Christian Council supports value-added tax plus fire in the sky. Did Bahamians really see a UFO this evening? We'll tell you a little later in news. The details of those stories and a whole lot more on the way. I'm Bonnie Toot, and NV12 starts now. Topping news tonight, for the third time since 2011, the murder count has hit triple digits in less than a year. Back in 2011, then opposition leader Perry Christie called it an intolerable state of affairs. Well, today's opposition leaders say the Christie administration is now guilty of the same thing it accused the former government of, failing to keep Bahamians safe.
This past weekend marked an historic moment in the life of our country for all the wrong reasons. It was the first time ever that we have recorded 100 murders in any single year.
One day after the country's murder count hit the 100 mark for the first time in 2011, leaders of the Progressive Liberal Party held a news conference to blast the Ingram administration for the grim milestone. Surrounded by PLP candidates, then opposition leader Perry Christie called it an intolerable state of affairs. He demanded action and promised to introduce aggressive anti-crime measures if returned to power.
Urban Renewal 2.0 in particular must be reinstituted in full, along with the other innovative strategies announced in my crime plan, namely 50 Bahamians, safe havens, and violence breakers.
Urban Renewal 2.0 was implemented shortly after the PLP took office, but we've heard very little about violence breakers, safe havens, or even 50 Bahamians since the election. While in opposition, the PLP claimed to have the solutions to crime, even erecting these controversial posters throughout the capital. However, for the third time in 3 years, the Bahamas has recorded over 100 murders, this time under a PLP government.
I think they should hold their heads in shame, knowing what they did to the Bahamian populace just to win an election.
Among this year's 102 victims, a mother of two murdered on her front porch just last month. A 25-year-old man shot and killed in Union Village just yesterday. And the incident DNA leader Branville McCartney will never forget. The October 24th murder of his brother and best friend, Curtin McCartney. He says government has failed to bring crime under control.
You know, the fundamental principle of governance is the protection of the citizens. Fundamental principle of governance. And if you cannot protect your citizens, you should not be in government. We are not protected.
If he were in charge, McCartney says carrying out the death penalty would be priority number one.
Give me an opportunity. Death penalty will be on the books and enforced and carried out. And this place would be cleaned up. You know what I say? No playing around with these menaces. None. This place will be cleaned up. They will fear the law.
A former police constable has been charged with possession of an unlicensed firearm and unlawfully causing damage. 31-year-old Javon Munnings was yesterday charged with having an unlicensed .45 pistol in his possession and intentionally causing damage to the front service gate of Venice Bay, a gated community located off Bacardi Road on Saturday. Now, according to court documents, that gate is valued at $24,000. Munnings pleaded not guilty to both charges. The prosecution objected to bail and said that Munnings was a flight risk, adding that the former officer had further charges pending. However, Magistrate Andrew Forbes granted bail at $14,000 with two sureties and ordered Munnings to surrender his travel documents. He returns to court in April. Just over half a dozen bodies that were fished from waters off Exuma after last week's tragedy were expected to be identified today. However, that process has been delayed. One family showed up, though, at the Princess Margaret Hospital morgue, hoping to learn the fate of a 28-year-old mother of one, who they say was aboard that ship. Jasmine Bonamy has the story.
For one man, he says his trip to the morgue this morning was about finding his sister, who he says boarded that ill-fated boat. 35-year-old Jimmy Basil and his father stood outside the morgue this morning hoping to view the bodies and put an end to their desperate search for his sister, Mullian Cadet. Basil says there has been a blanket of uncertainty surrounding his sister's fate that has lasted for the past 8 days. He adds that his family is struggling to cope without knowing what exactly happened.
I feel bad, It's my sister.
RBDF officials say at least 30 Haitian migrants drowned in the Exuma Keys after making a perilous journey from Haiti. RBDF Lieutenant Origin Delavaux said 111 were rescued, including 19 women and 92 men, off the Exuma chain after the vessel they were in ran aground on Harvey Key on November 23rd, according to passengers. 6 bodies were recovered from the water. Delavaux said the RBDF was unable to retrieve the rest. Basil said he believes his sister, who was recently deported from New Providence, did not tell her family she was trying to sneak back into the country, as she knew they would not approve of the dangerous and illegal journey. But he says he believes her desperate attempt to regain entry was to see her 8-year-old son for the holidays.
When I called my family in Haiti, they say she was in the boat too. She never tell us she come in because she know she don't call us because she know we don't accept her coming in the boat like that. That's why she just come by herself just like that. She didn't call nobody to say that.
Basil says his family isn't sure what happened to his sister, but admits the family believes she was one of those who died, as she hasn't been heard from in nearly 2 weeks. He added that before coming to the morgue today, he visited the detention center last week, but was told she was not one of those who were rescued.
She tried to come in to mind the baby, so that's why she come in here for. But
meantime, Basil will have to return to the morgue tomorrow to continue his search, after it was revealed the identifications could not be conducted today. The coroner is still awaiting the necessary documents. Reporting for NB12, I'm Jasmine Bonamy.
1 week after that tragedy, Haitian migrants continue to make the dangerous voyage in search of a better way of life. Police say a Haitian sloop sailed into Long Island shortly after 2 this afternoon. Officials say a large number of Haitian migrants managed to escape. However, police, with the help of residents, apprehended 28 males and 3 females. The search for the remaining migrants on that sloop continues. And the Bahamas Union of Teachers is one step closer to applying for a strike vote. Hundreds of public school teachers here on New Providence polled during a membership meeting Monday afternoon were said to be in support of holding a strike vote. Now, Union President Belinda Wilson says executives will poll teachers on Grand Bahama and the Family Islands. She says a day for the strike vote will be determined by next week. In the meantime, she intends to write to the labor director requesting that the Department of Labor oversee the vote. Wilson is demanding access to school campuses during school hours, and the union claims there are still unresolved health and safety issues at Uriah McPhee and Stephen Dillett. Coming up, how value-added tax could impact your electricity bill, and the Christian Council weighs in on the controversial tax. The details of those stories and more on the other side of the break.